everything we do is human capital intensive, even though the margins are really high, 75%, each client is worth $30,000, you're still gonna reach a limit because there's only so many good people that you can bump into to hire, right? We have to find a specific kind of individual in order to work in China. Someone, no matter what race they are, someone who's willing to accept a different culture and a different moral basis that these students in China think through. So we're going to reach a limit for that, and that's why in the past month, Amy Klinke, who's sitting right there, decided during one of the TechArb mix and mingle sessions, says, you have to meet this other guy called Bill, who's sitting over there too. And he says, you have to meet him. And if Amy Klinke says you have to meet him, you have to meet him, right? So I talked with Bill, and 3 days after I talked with Bill, I'm on a trip to New York City, right? And then 4 days after New York City, I'm on my way back, and we're helping bring more assets from New York City to here to basically do another startup in Ann Arbor that I hope to produce some products that will help grow the economy here and to further link with education in China so that we can solve that human capital issue. Because the best way to solve that issue is to use technology, and in this case, it would be e-learning technology to replace some of the employees that normally you would try to hire and scale. Okay. So yeah, so that was the first part of my presentation, the boring part of it. Now we actually get to the cool part where I did some analysis as an engineer, right? You have to use numbers, especially as an industrial engineer, to figure out what happened in the past few years of my life. So the first part is GPA, right? Obviously, I don't care about my GPA whatsoever. But the point is, my GPA clearly, in a linear pattern, went from a 4.0 to a 3.8 to a 3.7, constantly down the line until, and the funny thing is, you'll see in the next slide, not yet, that that's actually correlated with the amount of money that you make. And then, right, so then the funny thing after that is, then the more time I spent with my girlfriend, actually, the better my businesses grew, right? So you would think that it takes time away from your life, but as I mentioned, with laundry, with food, with staying up to 3 a.m. at the TechArb working and sleeping there because just of exhaustion. Right? I used to sleep at the TechArb all the time. The more I was with her, the better and more powerful my business became. And this is really interesting data, right? And then extracurricular activities pretty much doesn't exist anymore. Right, and hanging out, that was basically during freshman year, the first semester, I spent some time with friends, and now I don't spend any time with friends, right? So more correlation, and this, by the way, correlation doesn't equal causation, seriously. Don't do this just because you think it's gonna get to the same results. This is just correlation, not causation, right? I still haven't taken a paycheck from my own company at Education, even though we've certainly made plenty of capital. So as my company's capital grew, the amount of money I gave to myself didn't really make a jump until just earlier this year, and hours of sleep. So that's hitting a limit, right? So I think you have to have at least a certain amount of sleep before you can't operate anymore. And company growth and LinkedIn. By the way, you should get your profile on LinkedIn and on TrueApp. Where's Moses? Can't find him. But TrueApp is made by Moses, and it puts your profile in pictures, just like on LinkedIn, with visual representations. And I actually recently almost hired an intern from TrueApp. So the amount of LinkedIn usage I do now is probably greater than the amount of time I spend on Facebook, just going into groups and stuff. Now here's my favorite one: the GPA and the personal wealth, right? So which is personal wealth is also correlated to company's wealth. So right, the lower my GPA is, the higher the amount of money that I make, right? So again, causation and correlation doesn't equal causation, but what does that tell you for your measure for this? From my perspective, GPA is actually really important, but unless you have a 4.0, I don't care about your GPA, right? And there is one person that we want to hire who does have a 4.0 after 4 years of EECS, but how many 4.0s are there for this, right? So if you have anything less than that, then is it worth it to add that extra amount of hours? Is it worth it to pay more attention to your classes just so that you can not learn some skills that you actually need in life, some marketable skills,